can occur, which is 12 to 16 miles that they proposed. So the principal advisor of my friend, he is never there. So the second amendment, Mr. Speaker, that we made, again with full consultation of the people who were there, Mr. Speaker, is within the entire reserve, there was a restriction that a vessel could move at only 10 knots. Well, I do not know how much of us are familiar with navigating and so on to know what that speed is like. But 10 knots really is not so much. It's sort of a slow speed. And one of the recommendations that they come up with is that, if they have to travel from Portsmouth to Scotch Z at 10 knots, it will take them a very long time. And when we understood the argument, we had back and forth, and therefore, in looking at what they were saying, we had removed the 10 knots restriction on the entire reserve and now restricted 10 knots to if you are approaching the animals out at about 50 meters. Okay, so these are compromises that we did with the industry to enhance their business, to enhance the product that they're offering for their guests so that they can get more out of a day than what was previously envisioned. And we thought that this area of compromise was fine, and we agreed with them, and we made the necessary adjustment. The next major area was, the senator said that the board is dominated by scientists. Mr. Speaker, one of the main amendments again that is made in this proposal is there were only 2 members from the academic institutions. Now, I do not know why people think when you say academic institution means overseas people. And she conducted it herself because she said they are local scientists. But yeah, you can be self-taught, you can have a certificate from somewhere, but whoever you define as a scientist, that's fine. I will not look at what is the matriculations that makes up our scientists or the criteria. But the notion that people have in their head that because in the actors on the board has an academic institution automatically means overseas people. So therefore what we did, Mr. Speaker, again in consensus and listening to the operators, we have reduced the 2 members on the board to now 1. So now it is represented by 1 academic institution. Okay? So the senator was not even aware of this amendment. So what she was worrying about. And the fourth and major one, Mr. Speaker, is that what we did, we recognize there are aspects of the bill, once it is passed in Parliament, sometimes might come into effect immediately, and that the operators currently would not have the time to make the necessary adjustment. Because when this bill is passed, a lot of operators have to put themselves in order. And that is what some of the people is fighting, those who are advising against, because they do not want to be in order. Because once the bill is passed, you are dealing with high-end clients, you are dealing with tourists, so there is liability involved, Mr. Speaker. Once you deal with tourists, even on land, people going on tour, I'm sure they have liability. I'm not so familiar with the activities on land, but all our people who operate in the marine environment, we ensure that they have some level of limited liability for their tourists and their guests. So in this proposal, once the act is passed, operators who wishing to conduct activities out on the ocean, be it swimming in whales or be it whale watching, has to have some level of liability. And not just that, they need to follow they need to have certain standards based on their vessel in terms of safety, inspections, and also there are certain guidelines and protocol that they will have to follow when dealing with these sensitive and majestic creatures, Mr. Speaker, which are the sperm whales, or for those of us who like science, Phacetus macrophasalus is the scientific name, Mr. Speaker. And this majestic animal is world-renowned. For those of us who know about Moby Dick, and like the story of Moby Dick, Herman Melville's novel, the whale in that story was a sperm whale, Mr. Speaker, a white one. I don't know if you have a white one, but the one in Moby Dick was a white one. And those of us who know about Moby Dick should know about Captain Ahab and what amount of trouble that sperm whale gave him. So, Mr. Speaker, that is why we want our boat captains or operators well equipped. And the third consideration, the final consideration that we took, which comes is in terms of timing of some of the aspects of the. So we put in a clause now to give the minister the power to effect the timing of certain aspects of the bill. So a critical example would be in the standards of the vessels that we're going to have operating. They need to have what we call AIS, Automatic Identification System, which is a requirement by IMO, the International Maritime Organization, for a lot of vessels, so that you, the authority, the regulator, can know at any time where a vessel is located. So we can know if they are doing whale watching or swimming whales in the sanctuary where they should not be. But we recognize, Mr. Speaker, that these technologies sometimes can be expensive. And the local operators may not be able to afford it immediately, or they need time to learn the system, to get accustomed to how the system works. Also, we recognize that we on the regulatory side, Mr. Speaker, will also need some time ourselves to acquire the system, because we have to monitor. And we need people who are trained on how to monitor. So therefore, regulations will be made post the bill, and I hope that it will be passed and become an act. So post this bill so that we can give the appropriate amount of time that it would take for these individuals to train, acquire the system, whether we help them as the regulator to acquire the system or whatever mechanism it is that. So these were the major things that came up, Mr. Speaker, from the operators, from the stakeholders, contrary to what people were saying. Because most of the things people were talking about had nothing to do with the bill. Were things totally outside of the bill, were hypothetical things, were superficial things, were theoretical things, and it was not. So this is what we learned. We thought that people had issues to do with the bill, only to find out that these were just the areas of the bill that, the operators, and not all of them are operators, and other people with vested interest in the tourism industry. Now, Mr. Speaker, the link, I heard that the tourism people are left behind in this bill. Mr. Speaker, this bill only is for almost the tourism industry. And I was even a little bit surprised and panicking a bit, because it is a sperm whale reserve. But I find a reserve making it conducive and creating so much environment for commercial activity to take place, for tourism activity to take place, that we would almost lost the semblance of the reserve itself. So thanks to the stakeholders who brought in the sanctuary. So now I'm hearing that this is not a bill for tourism. And when I was over concerned that there was too much tourism in the bill, because all of the operators who are in this bill, and Mr. Speaker, I don't know if you know about the type of charges. These guys charge per charter. This is not like a bus hire to go Portsmouth for $400. I will not put the people business outside. But in addition to the type of clientele, so if I were to put this into context, Mr. Speaker, and I have also told the member of Soufriere that our ministry should really get some level of revenue from their ministry. They should put a head for us in their budget. Because recently we saw an issue from the WTT, the World Tourism Organization, there are many of them, World Travel Tour, something like that, which indicated the level of increase in terms of tourism arrival and how tourism was growing in a few countries. And listed Dominica growing by 7-point-something%, at one of the highest in the region, Mr. Speaker. But I want them, really, my counterpart ministry, to improve on the data so that they can tell us how many of this growth is related to the environment. And I suspect, Mr. Speaker, no matter how much more cruise ship we say come in, that more than 50% of the growth is from high-end clientele, tourists, who is coming to Dominica strictly for the purpose of swimming whales, whale watching, and dive tourism. High-end clientele stay over 2 weeks, 1 week, spending tremendous amount of money in the local industry, Mr. Speaker. So this is really who this bill. But what we have to do is to remove the vile, or we say, uncontrollable situations there, unregulated aspects. We have to come up with this bill because we have to demonstrate to the world, Mr. Speaker, that the blue economy, by definitions, means leveraging the marine environment for your own economic benefit. But the second part of this definition is that whatever economic benefit you leverage or you improve by using this blue space, it has to be done in a sustainable manner. And last time the member from Salibia was at the Buckingham Palace, I told you, and he told me, so this is why I can tell you, that the king bypassed everybody and came to him and asked him, how is this sperm whale reserve going in Dominica? When is it going to be passed? Mr. Speaker, I just saw one of the world premier ocean magazine. It's called Oceanographic. And Mr. David Attenborough, anybody who knows about natural sciences, the world best narrator in the world in explaining things in terms of natural science. Issue 43, please go and look at it. You have to pay £10, but go and check it out. He has listed, he has now included in his theme of this week, and he's talking about the marvel of the sperm whales in Dominica, and praising Dominica for their actions. Praising Dominica for the actions that they are taking for this majestic creature. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, those who are concerned about the fishing industry need not be. Because in developing this bill, we looked at the fishers of Dominica in a special lens. So therefore, there is nowhere in these reserves that inhibits or affects any fisher in any way whatsoever. So in terms of traversing through the sperm whale reserve, in terms of his fishing activities, so we were we looked very closely at ensuring that our local artisanal fishers were in no way, shape or form affected or impacted by this bill. Because I have heard people talking about fishers. In any way, shape or form, they are exempt from any of the rules, okay? Because they are the ones who were originally in the space, and we wanted to make sure that they were not disenfranchised, Mr. Speaker. So, the world is looking at us, Mr. Speaker. There are many countries looking to emulate what we're doing. You heard the Honorable, the member from Cottage say, my colleague minister, that it is time that we put some meaning to the word blue economy and to leverage what we have, the space that we have outside of the traditional sectors, Mr. Speaker, which we know to be our local fishing industry, to an extent shipping, maritime. These are the traditional areas. But to maximize the amount of money we can generate from the resource that we have. And this is non-tax revenue and no-cost revenue. So I'm speaking in terms of fees, okay? No tax revenue and no cost revenue. So we don't have to bake anything to sell. We don't have to produce anything to sell to make money back. People are just paying us to use the resource. And then you have heard of the board. In every organization, everything you need is a board. So I heard about who do you raise this for, because they have a board. But somebody made the mention before when we were speaking about the financial service. This is a voluntary board, Mr. Speaker. So I do not know what was the context of the question in terms of who does the reserve belong to. Because the board is to ensure that the resources that are collected are used for the purpose that was intended in this very bill. And it is very clear, it is very elaborate as to the functions of the board, and Honorable Roy mentioned that how the money is on the board. So they are put together as a watchdog. So they have a fiduciary responsibility, Mr. Speaker, outside of the Ministry of Finance, which you saw there is some level of responsibility to make resources available. And we are very confident, Mr. Speaker, that the governance of the reserve is self-sustaining, because we know of the revenues that we generate, and we know there are potential to raise much more revenue, not by increasing the amount of activities in the reserve to compromise what we're trying to achieve, but we know that the people who are willing to undertake such activities like swimming wheels do not have a problem in paying the proposed fees, Mr. Speaker. And the concern that I hear some people are bringing out about some of the operators, the fees to the state and the operations of the operator are completely separate and different. Mr. Speaker, the response I have been getting from the people who have been coming to Dominica on a yearly basis, and even with the proposed fees that are being increased, I myself have been frightened that the demand for such activities that which this bill is trying to govern and manage is increasing. But Mr. Speaker, we have in this, so instead of we or the minister having to exercise his sole decision and discretion over managing the entire industry, Mr. Speaker, it is well spelled out in this proposed bill as to how and how many permits and how many people will be out at the same time. And also, subsequently, the final section clause in this bill, which is sections 43, also will give the minister powers to develop regulation for several aspects which is put into the bill. Because as we have said, Mr. Minister, for every type of bill, it is not static. It ought to be dynamic. We will learn things. We will revise things. We may have confront things that we thought would have worked, would not work. And Mr. Speaker, as a government that is very proactive, if we have to will and come again, Mr. Speaker, we will and come again. And we will fix things, will amend things, as we constantly do with all other type of legislation, Mr. Speaker. So I think I want to wind up, Mr. Speaker, and say this is a momentous day for the industry. This is a momentous day for conservation. This is a momentous day for management of marine resources, Mr. Speaker. This is not just about fisheries, of marine resources. And we have a lot more to gain. And this is the beginning of us capitalizing and leveraging the ocean for what we used to call the blue economy. And we have much more to do in the sphere of the blue economy. This is just the beginning. And also, Mr. Speaker, this is the beginning of one of the mandates internationally that we have signed on to. Because by 2030, we have agreed, Dominica and partners in many UN forums, that we would protect at least 30% of Dominica's ocean. So this is a brilliant start, because prior to that, we had only 5%, which was equating to what, something like 0.0001% of Dominica's exclusive economic zone. And I have said before in this honorable house, Mr. Speaker, the land space of Dominica is 754 kilometers square. The ocean space that belongs to Dominica, the exclusive economic zone, is 28,500 plus kilometers square. You can imagine the amount of space that we have to do the various things that we need to do, wave energy, wind energy, perhaps prospecting of mineral mining on the seabed. There are so many other things, Mr. Speaker. So this is the time is now. We are starting here. Very soon to come, you will see other initiatives in terms of additional space of area that we need to provide protection for. We will do what we have to do to build our image, to give meaning to the word of resilient and the nature isle, so that when we say it, so that when my counterpart and them go on their tourism marketing campaign, they can put figures and they can put meaning to what they're saying and not just saying things. So that when people go on their AI platform to see if what they're saying is true, then all of the information will come up. Oh yeah, boy, that is very true. Boy. All of these things exist, Mr. Speaker. So Speaker, I can go on and speak about many other things. But once again, I would just like to say I support this bill wholeheartedly, and I wish I have clarified many other things to the senator. I see she's not present, but she will be listening in the room. But there we are good. She will discuss, and I will also take the opportunity to clarify things with her one-on-one, Mr. Speaker. So with this very last word, I support this bill wholeheartedly, and I hope the whole entire House support this bill.
Yes, Honorable Pemberton, you may proceed.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, it gives me great honor to fully endorse the Sperm Whale Reserve Bill 2025, which in my view is a groundbreaking legislation, a groundbreaking piece of legislation, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I heard the Senator Laurie, I don't remember her last name. Victor? Senator Victor. Said that she was excited about this legislation, Mr. Speaker. And she went on to say how she was disappointed that it did not factor tourism activities, Mr. Speaker, which was totally incorrect, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, when the Honorable Minister, Julian Defoe, rose to give her the clarification, let her know all the amendments we made post the consultation and the many consultations we've had for over 2 years to bring this bill to this House, Mr. Speaker, she was absent, just like she was in all the consultations, Mr. Speaker. And that is the problem, Mr. Speaker. People come to the House, they speak, to get information, Mr. Speaker, they are outside. They are outside, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, this is an extraordinary step, one that speaks not only to our environmental duty, but to our national identity, Mr. Speaker. Once again, and I say once again, Mr. Speaker, because we were the nation that went, we were the country that went before the United Nations and declared after Hurricane Maria that we would build the first climate resilient nation, Mr. Speaker. And today, Dominica is sending a powerful message to the world that a small island can lead in conservation, sustainability, and climate resilience. I want to truly congratulate Honorable Defoe for his outstanding leadership, Mr. Speaker, in getting this legislation in the House. Honorable Roye, Ms. Nawana Shillingford, the Maritime Administrator, the PS, former PS, Valmont, I think the former PS, Severin, institutions like SETI and National Geographic, and our committed stakeholders who ensured that this legislation achieved two purposes: protect our sperm whales and create a world exclusive tourism product, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this bill recognizes that the same ocean which sustains our people through fishing, tourism, and trade is also home to the majestic sperm whales. They are our marine citizens. They are part of our ecosystem, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I understand what she spoke about the connection, because when you speak to the tour operators, even Miss Barron, Defoe's sister, you can tell the personal relationships with the whales, Mr. Speaker. So we know that they have developed personal friendships over time, and they have their own way of communicating with the whales, Mr. Speaker. But it is important that every Dominican and visitor understand that the ocean is their home. Mr. Speaker, how would you feel if every time you come out on your porch for a little fresh air, there are tons of people waiting to swim with you or take pictures, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, you will feel harassed. You may feel like changing your location and move to Zion, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, by establishing the World Sanctuary, We're ensuring that our whales have a safe haven, protecting their breeding and feeding grounds. And I am depending on the reserve rangers who will be engaged to enforce regulations and tour operators to respect the laws governing the reserve, Mr. Speaker. But if there are breaches, Mr. Speaker, as Honorable Roy pointed out, the fines are hefty, Mr. Speaker. And I can promise you, we will have zero tolerance in ensuring that our people follow the rules. Mr. Speaker, she spoke about tourism. In terms of tourism, Dominica is known as the nature island of the Caribbean. But I dare to say that by passing this bill, we have further distinguished ourselves on the world stage as the only destination on earth where visitors can observe, research, and even swim with sperm whales year-round in a responsible and respectable manner, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that's a mighty achievement. We are demonstrating to the world that our nature is more than just our destination. It is who we are. We have our marine reserves, like the Sufres Cosset Marine Reserve, Mr. Speaker. We have our forest reserves, and now we are establishing a new marine reserve, Mr. Speaker, the Sperm Whale Reserve, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, we have been welcoming many guests to our shores for swimming with the whales. And as Honorable Defoe was afraid to say, the tour operators in Dominica make a good change, Mr. Speaker. It's a very lucrative business, Mr. Speaker. I just hope they're paying their taxes, Mr. Speaker. They have to file their taxes and pay, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, if we have to sit down and calculate the annual income of a tour operator in that industry, Mr. Speaker, it's a lot of money, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, with the passage of this bill, we expect more and more visitors, especially high-end clientele that are willing to pay for this exclusivity, Mr. Speaker. There are people that want to pay for it, and they don't care how much money, Mr. Speaker, because they have the money and they just want the experience. So, Mr. Speaker, this unique experience will only be found here in Dominica, Mr. Speaker. No other Caribbean island can offer it. So I'm not worried about a decrease in tourism activity, Mr. Speaker. Let it decrease, Mr. Speaker, but let the revenue and the value increase, Mr. Speaker, because that is what it's about, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, exactly, that's it, quality. So, Mr. Speaker, in Dominica, we have unique experiences. We have our boiling lake, we have our rivers, we have the longest hiking trail in the Caribbean, our numerous waterfalls, hot springs, Mr. Speaker. What does all this mean in the establishment of the Sperm Whale Reserve, Mr. Speaker? It will mean more money circulating in the economy, more diversity, Mr. Speaker, in our tourism product, Mr. Speaker. Tour operators, taxi, the accommodation sector, Mr. Speaker, vendors, food, Mr. Speaker. So our occupancy rates in our hotels can go up, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Dominica was recently named the Caribbean Leading Nature Destination 2025 by World Tourism Organization. And we're expecting many awards this year for our dive product, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, Dominica's future is bright. Our tourism product, our tourism industry is growing, Mr. Speaker. To date, our stay over arrivals is 10% over last year, 2024, Mr. Speaker. I remember we said 2024 is the best performing ever, and we are 10% ahead. So we're well on our way to achieve 100,000 stayover visitors, Mr. Speaker, by the end of the year. So, Mr. Speaker, I must commend my team at Discover Dominica Authority, Dominica Festivals Commission, the staff at the Ministry of Tourism, and our fantastic stakeholders who continue to selflessly promote our country. We are getting ready to launch a new marketing campaign. I cannot share any details. So I hope that now we can finally boast of having established the first sperm whale reserve in the world. This will help strengthen our campaign and help reduce the confusion between Dominica and Dominican Republic, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, if that doesn't work, I will have to agree with the member from the Kalinago territory. Let us rename Dominica Waitikubuli, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Defoe spoke of the establishment of the Sperm Whale Reserve Board. I don't need to go over that, which will have representatives from tourism, fisheries, environment, finance, maritime, and academia, as he said. Mr. Speaker, he also gave information, I think Honorable Royan Defoe spoke about this, the creation of a Sperm Whale Reserve Fund, which will be well managed, Mr. Speaker, an independent fund. So it's not going in the consolidated funds or the treasury purse, Mr. Speaker. I know that was a concern that came on, so I want people to understand very clearly that if an independent fund has been created that will be managed, Mr. Speaker, by a board. And Mr. Speaker, that is just to ensure that there's continuing education, conservation, and reinvestment in the reserve, Mr. Speaker, and enforcement of the laws, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as Honorable Defoe said, this sperm whale reserve creates new jobs in the blue economy, Mr. Speaker. And apart from the chief whaling officers, the reserve rangers, and other officers we will need to help us to manage the reserve, Mr. Speaker, I'm certain it will create other opportunities for new tour operators and other businesses, Mr. Speaker, to provide complimentary services for the new, yes, exactly, for visitors coming to Dominica. Mr. Speaker, the rangers will oversee daily operations, they will issue permits and enforce regulations, as was stated. These officers will also be empowered to board vessels, issue penalties, and conduct digital monitoring. They will have the same powers as special constables, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I just want to highlight, it will not be an offense to harass, chase, feed, separate whales from their calves, or to operate vessels at unsafe speeds within the reserve. Discharge of waste or pollution will attract heavy penalties up to $500,000 or 10 years imprisonment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, however, despite how solid this bill is, for it to be truly effective, it will require our personal responsibility as a people. In the Soufriere constituency, we have the Soufriere Scott St. Maureen Reserve, and the reason why it's been able to function so effectively is because of the cooperation of everyone, the fishers, the stakeholders, and the tour operators who operate in that marine space, Mr. Speaker. I believe that every student must be educated on this bill, and we have to continue the public education, especially in coastal communities, because as Honorable Defoe stated correctly, it will not affect fishing activities within the reserve, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, we have a responsibility as a people to understand that we have to protect the reserve, and one key way each of us can contribute to that is how we dispose of waste, Mr. Speaker, especially plastics and plastic bottles, Mr. Speaker. We have to get more serious if we want to earn more from the blue economy and also for food security purposes, Mr. Speaker. We need to sustain our fishing industry. We have far more to gain by reducing pollution, recycling, and being good stewards of the environment. Mr. Speaker, as I close, let me say, today is a day of celebration, Mr. Speaker. It is a proud day for Dominica, a living testament to our national motto, Acque Baudier, c'est la terre, Mr. Speaker. After God is the earth, and certainly adds to our pride as a people as we celebrate our 47, the earth, the sea, everything, the natural environment. And certainly adds to our pride as a people as we celebrate our 47th independence, that our small nation continues to show vision, courage, and commitment to our planet, Mr. Speaker. This Dominica Labour government, led by our visionary Prime Minister, has been good stewards of this beautiful land. And as we get ready to host the biggest festival, the World Choral Music Festival 25th edition, Mr. Speaker, and let me share with you, Mr. Speaker, all flights are booked. All accommodations, Mr. Speaker, are booked. Even the newly opened Ocean Oasis, Mr. Speaker, has no rooms for the festival, Mr. Speaker. They are booked, Mr. Speaker. This beautiful hotel in Lalikoko Road in Castle Comfort area, Mr. Speaker. The ferry is booked. The